succulent growers, it's Lynn, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how you can easily propagate the Chamaecereus cacti, commonly called the peanut cacti. And I'm just going to talk a little bit first about these type of cactus plants. Now, the reason why they're called the peanut cacti is because of their little stem segments here that resemble like little peanuts hanging off. Very lovely little, very easy cactus to grow, very popular with beginners, and I'm sure that nearly every cactus collector has at least one of these peanut cacti in their collection. They also come under the Echinopsis Silvestri or Chamaecereus silvestri. Also, there's a lot of hybrids as well that are crossed with Lobivia, such as Chamaelobivia, and they all produce the most gorgeous of flowers from spring right up until into the summertime. Usually one of the first of the cacti in your collection to bloom as well. With mine, they bloom anything from the April onwards. Absolutely gorgeous cacti. Perfect for windowsills. If you don't have a lot of space and you just have a small window, a sunny window, they make ideal cacti because they're nice and compact and they're not going to grow and overtake your window like some of the taller growing cactus plants can. So ideal beginners plants, ideal if you don't have a lot of space, and ideal if you do have a lot of space as well. They're just all good rounders. Now, the only disadvantage with Chamaecereus, the peanut cacti, I find, is that they nearly always come down at some point with spider mite, such as this case here. They at least every year or so I have to treat these with neem oil to keep down spider mite. But the good news is they very readily recover from it. These are all new stem segments that was from a couple of years ago, from when it last had an attack of spider mite. And as you can see there, the new growth coming up from this damaged stem. So if you can keep the spider mite under control with neem oil, then they're pretty easy. Other than that, very easy to grow. Now, the best time to propagate them, I would say, is probably spring, early spring. But I mean, you can even, excuse me, even do it in the middle of winter. And this is why it is so easy. I'm going to show you now. All you have to do is choose one of these little stem segments that are coming off here. In this case, I'm going to choose this one because it's a nice big one. You don't need to protect your fingers. They're sort of quite soft, as you can see there. But if you want to protect your fingers, then maybe put a little bit of cloth around, or maybe wear some gloves. Pull it. You don't just pull it off. You just want to pull gently by just gently twisting. That's how easy it comes off. Look at that. You can see there. And what you want to do there, what I recommend doing, is actually keeping it like that. Keep the little segment or segments, however many you want to pop off to propagate. Keep it for about 24 hours. And the reason for that is because this will form a little dry callus at the end there. Don't just go and put it straight into soil because it can rot. Infection can get in there. So just leave it for 24 hours in a cool position away from direct sun. And then it's time to, after 24 hours, to pot it up. Now, once you've left it a day, you want to make sure that it's formed a little tiny, as you can see there, very, very, very thin scab of a white callus. And that's because, as I mentioned, if you just put it straight into the soil, it could rot. And where these little areoles, as they call them, all at the very bottom here, this is where the roots are going to come out of, as well as at the base. And you want to make sure that you use a well-draining cactus soil, one that dries out quickly in between waterings. Fill up a little pot, such as this one here. And then all you have to do, I mean, even if you just place them like that, they'll still root. But I always like to make sure that the very bottom of the areoles there are in contact with the soil. Just very carefully twist it in until it's sort of standing up on its own like that. Gently tuck it in. And I would not recommend going ahead and watering it like you would a normal cactus because it hasn't got any roots yet. But what I do find does help, and this is more if you're doing it in the spring and summer. If you're doing it in the winter, I would just keep it in totally dry soil and leave it there until the following spring. These little cacti will root even if they're not watered. I've propagated these, stuck them in soil and forgot about them, and they've been dry practically all over the winter, and then the spring they just carry on growing and they've rooted. But what I do find help if it's spring and summer is to give a little bit of a spray like this with a little spray just gently onto the top of the soil. And that does help to encourage a little bit of rooting, I find. And then just every few days give it a bit of a spray, but don't give it a proper watering until it has rooted. You'll know when it started to root because you'll see signs of new growth coming at the top of it. And also this little peanut here, the one that you're propagating, will start to fatten up. They root pretty easy in spring and summer. And although these cactus plants do love very lot of bright sunshine, when you're propagating them like this, because it's not rooted, I'd keep it in a more shadier position, in a bright position. A little bit of sunshine is fine, but do keep it out of very strong sunshine until it has rooted and started to grow. So there you go, very easy peasy to do. One of the most easiest of cacti to propagate. And as I say, great little beginner's plants, and the flowers are stunning on them, all from the spring into the summer. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. For lots more tips and tricks, don't forget to subscribe. Do click that notification bell. And you can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook at Desert Plants of Avalon. And do check out my website, desertplantsofavalon.com. I want to wish you all a fantastic cactus-powered day.